and CEO of Vivi, Charles Bonello. And now, put your hands together and please welcome the 57th Governor of the great state of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. By way of quick introduction, my name is Charles Bonello, and I'm the co-founder, CEO, and very proud first dad at Vivi. My 4-year-old Grace has been attending our program since she was 3 months old, and that wasn't enough for me, so I went and I had twins about 2 years ago. So I'm really in it. I'm also the very proud husband of a nurse, so I feel like I'm particularly well attuned to the caregiving needs of working families with demanding and often unpredictable schedules. I'm joined today by some of our incredible team, including my co-founder and COO, Ben Newton, our executive leadership team, and our exceptional head of school and teachers. We all could not be prouder to host Governor Hochul today and her team to talk about an issue that's so important to all of us in this room today: affordable and accessible childcare. Vivi's entire mission, in fact, is to make exceptional care and learning accessible and affordable for working families by partnering with their employers to provide childcare as a benefit. Vivi serves thousands of families and about 50 employers, ranging in size from 100-person law firms to the New York City Economic Development Corporation to Fortune 100 companies, with a global caregiving solution that supports families across life and career stages. And you're going to hear from one of our amazing parents who's had access to this benefit in a little bit. Although we serve families and companies around the world, New York is our home. It's where I grew up, right here in Brooklyn. It's where Vivi was founded. And it's where we are very proud to have been one of the few programs allowed to stay open throughout COVID, serving the heroic first responders at the heart of the pandemic. We're currently sitting in the 5th of our 7 New York campuses, all of which are the heart of our work and our mission, a mission that is rooted in some key incontrovertible truths, namely, that child care is a crisis that affects all of us. Oftentimes, people think about child care deserts as being somewhere else. But the truth is that New York has one of the most significant child care supply-demand imbalances in the country. Families in New York spend more on child care than they do on housing, health care, food, and even college. And too often, working parents, especially mothers, are forced to make heartbreaking decisions to downshift or leave their careers altogether due to child care issues, resulting in a lifetime of lost wages and playing career catch-up. Second, this is a crisis that technology alone cannot fix. Child care requires hard work, exceptional teachers, and most importantly, the creation of new capacity. Third, that employers who invest in caring for their people will inevitably gain a competitive advantage in their marketplaces by attracting and retaining the very best talent, many of whom are not surprisingly working parents. There are so many challenges in the child care industry, and our model is structured to address them. We're open earlier and later than most child care providers, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, to support working parents and their families' busy and often unpredictable schedules. We create beautiful spaces like the one you're sitting in, where parents can feel good about leaving their child and know that they're getting the best possible care. Our schools are filled with exceptional educators, most of whom are full-time salaried employees with benefits and even ownership in Vivi, tied to the long-term success of the children in their care. Vivi is a place where they can build their careers with dignity and respect for the profound work that they do. We're working tirelessly to provide access and affordability to as many families as we can, but this is not something that one organization or group can do by itself. And the child care crisis is so vast that the private and public sectors have to do it together. Governor Hochul is doing just that. Under her leadership, New York is addressing the child care crisis with more than just rhetoric. Some of her efforts have included ensuring billions of dollars to be administered and distributed for the creation and expansion of new child care capacity, increasing direct funding to support working families seeking child care, establishing a $500 million grant program to support the development of child care workforce, the creation of a new $25 million employer children tax credit, and creating and significantly expanding the employer-provided child care tax credit, which more than doubles the federal credit and is the nation's largest and most significant tax credit, available to all New York employers who provide access to child care services for their people. The credit was recently doubled and allows employers to claim up to $500,000 per year on child care expenses for their employees. At Vivi, we believe everyone can help solve the crisis, and we're proud that New York State has empowered employers to do so. With that, Governor Hochul, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Charlie. Wow. The power of one parent. And I want to thank you for your vision in creating this beautiful space. I had the chance to play with some very energetic 2- and 3-year-olds, and they're adorable, but also how you responded to a community that really needed help here. And opening in 2019, some would say was kind of a recipe for disaster, because the very next year everything imploded, but you were there. You became the essential workers for the essential workers. And that's how I viewed so many of our child care providers, those who got us through the pandemic, because their parents didn't have the opportunity to say, I think I'll stay home. They were in New York Presbyterian and other places that you supported right at a time when we needed you the most. So I want to thank you for what you've done here. This is incredible. I also want to acknowledge our acting commissioner for the Office of Children and Family Services, Suzanne Miles Gustav. I want to thank her for the work. We're joined by Councilmember Lincoln Ressler. Lincoln, great to see you again back in your district. And we'll be hearing from Amanda Hamilton, one of our parents, who's going to tell us what it's like. And this has been fabulous. I'm so great to be able to come here and let a chance to just embrace what you've done. You know, when we're in Albany, we talk about policies, and we're going to pass a bill, and it's going to have money, and we're going to do a budget. But then you come out to a place like this, and you see the actualization of ideas that we may have, but here there's real people whose lives are affected. And so I'm really, really proud to be here. And we know how important child care is. And if we don't focus on making it more affordable and accessible, then our families are going to continue struggling. And they're already experiencing an affordability crisis. I mean, maybe inflation's topping out a little bit, but it is still shocking when people have to open up their weekly bills or pay their rent and their mortgage and, you know, the cost of everything. The scariest day is when those bills arrive and you sit at the table and say, wow, how is this going to add up? And as Charlie said, you think about the cost of childcare. It is the most expensive item on that bill, that monthly bills, more than people's rent, more than their mortgage payment many times. The average cost is about $15,000 a year per child. You throw in a toddler and a baby together, you know, we're approaching $30,000. Now listen to this, if you're making minimum wage, which we did just increase, we're going up to $17 an hour and indexing for inflation, so we understand, but it is cheaper to go to one of the SUNY colleges. And I literally just came down from Albany and spoke with the chancellor about the cost of education being high. So getting the kids through kindergarten, college is going to be easy when you think about that. But the sad truth is because of these expenses, we are losing a lot of young families, families who really want to be here. We have to work on the cost of housing, which is one of my highest priorities, but we have to find more access to affordable child care. And I also know a little bit about this personally. I am the first mother to be the governor of the state. And 35 years ago, I was starting out my career. All I wanted to do was work on Capitol Hill someday. I was a lawyer. I got the dream job working for Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. But I loved my job, and all of a sudden, our first child came along. There were no options. There literally were no options for my family. And my husband was just starting out in his career, and we had to decide, you don't give the baby back. We have to make this work. So I put my career on hold to raise the kids because there were no options 35 years ago. And it pains me to know that all these years later, when that baby is now a parent himself of a delightful 1-year-old, that it's still a challenge. Now, it's gotten a lot better, and I thank places like Vivi for creating options and all the places you've opened. It has made a big difference. But I understand what that's like, and especially the moms who lose that earning power and lose that chance to contribute into Social Security and their long-term pension plans and their benefit plans. We still have over 1 million women out of work across this country as a result of the pandemic. And I don't want to give anybody a bad flashback, but remember, even if your kids were in school or in childcare after the early months, one child tests positive, everybody's going home. So where are the kids going? It was just unsustainable. So last year's budget, as a brand new governor, I said we have to make up for a lot of lost time here. We put $7 billion toward child care. We brought down out of pocket costs for families. We also focused on expanding eligibility. It used to only be families that earned $55,000 a year could get assistance with child care. $55,000 a year. Now we increased it. I said, that's not functional. That doesn't work for families. $83,000 a year, and in October it's going up to $92,000. So families up to $92,000 will be eligible. That means over 500,000 more children will be eligible for support for child care for their parents. It's still, we have to double down. We have to lift our families up. So this Empire State Child Care Tax Credit. We have a tax credit for children 5 and up. I said, wait a minute. I actually know, because I'm a grandma, the cost of diapers and formula and the fact that that baby is outgrowing everything every few months. And now she's wearing these little shoes. So why isn't it from infant, newborn to age 4 covered as well for that family child tax credit? We just changed that in our budget. That is going to be a huge benefit for families, especially the 600,000 children who's now covered by this as well. So we are just trying to focus on all the ways we can say we're trying to make it a little bit easier on you. And the other problem is we have a lot of people that are eligible, but they're not signing up for the child care subsidies. Well, what's going on there? Well, it turns out, it's probably easier to apply for a mortgage than it is to apply for child care assistance in our state. And I said, this does not work either. So for people who are already eligible and have enrolled in different forms of public assistance, we can say that you're now eligible for child care assistance. If you're already getting home energy assistance or Medicaid or SNAP programs, I'm going to presume you're making under $92,000. You are eligible. Let's just give you a little break and not make you fill out all that paperwork. But the other key part that Charlie talked about is how we get more employers to buy into this. I have long said that our economy will only achieve its full potential when we have everyone who wants to work in the workforce. That means a lot of women particularly, but parents who have not been able to work. And I tell employers, you want to jumpstart your business. You want to grow. You want to expand. You want to have the most talented people. You need to help families take care of the child care problem. It's a temporary situation until they hit school. Let's just give them that hand right now. So we've decided we're going to make it easier for employers to provide assistance. And I think about companies like Micron. You may have heard of Micron, the largest semiconductor manufacturer in this country. We brought them to New York State. They're going to be opening in upstate New York. But we also said if, as a condition of getting state support, you also need to help with us with child care. In that sense, you're helping yourselves. They just invested over $500,000 into the local YWCA to make sure they had the resources they need up in Syracuse for employees to be able to have child care. That's what I'm talking about. Or calling on others to form a consortium or downtown business district. Figure it out or have child care on site. But what we have right here is one of the greatest examples. Just across the street from Vivi is Esty. I've toured Esty. It's a great place. And their headquarters is here in Dumbo. Many Etsy parents have their children enrolled right here. Think about how easy that is to not have to worry about dropping off somewhere else and backtracking and taking the subway, all the different ways I don't want to describe it. Right here, you come to work, children across the street, you can drop in and see them, and it works out beautifully. This is what makes so much more sense. And so I thank Etsy for stepping up, helping parents shoulder this burden, but we also think that more businesses need to follow their lead. So we now have an employer-sponsored child care pilot program. And we'll have a participating employers. The state will help out. The employees will all split the cost of childcare. Divide that big number into multiple ways we can help you. And we're going to start this off in 3 parts of the state, and also a business navigator for people to see where there's childcare available to them. And a new child tax credit. So there's different ways that we're supporting families, but also we have a lot of slots to make up for. People don't realize this, but we lost slots during the pandemic. We lost over 2,000 child care programs overall, 20,000 slots statewide. That's a real problem. And we talked about the child care deserts. This is real. This is not something you read about. This is happening in communities all over our state. So a lot of caregivers couldn't find child care for their own kids. They couldn't go to work. It got to be a lot of stress for these families. So how are we going to attract new people? How are we going to get more people to want to do exactly what Charlie is doing here with Vivi and all the people who are part of this team? How do we get more of this? This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Well, that's why today I'm really proud to announce our $500 million Workforce Retention Grant Program. This is how we're going to bolster New York State's child care workforce. And I want to say the applications for these grants are opening July 15th, so get ready. We're going to have over 150,000 caregivers across the state. We'll be able to benefit from bonuses. This is a retention bonus, $2,000 to $3,000 to help supplement their income, but also support recruitment and sign-on bonuses for new employees. Again, getting people into this incredibly satisfying, incredible field where we're just helping families, helping businesses. So we want to make sure that we get the money out the door, so help get the word out. Everybody here, please help us, because a budget is a statement of a state's priorities, my priorities as governor. And what we're doing to help lift up our families, take care of our kids, help our employers get the incredible workforce that they need, and take care of our providers and caregivers, this is how we're making a down payment on the future. This is how we're showing who we are as a people, keeping our families and kids here, helping employers, and helping them grow. So my goal is to make sure that our young people have the very best start in life. It starts at a place like this and all over the state of New York, and I'm really proud that we were able to enact this with the leaders in the legislature, the assembly members, and the senators. So I want to thank them. But I also want to talk about this priority in the context of our next speaker, Amanda Hamilton. She's got a great story to tell. She was an executive at Horizon Media, and they provide child care benefits to employees as well. But let her tell you what she was able to accomplish, and I'll give you a hint. It involved a diploma and walking down the aisle just a few weeks ago, what she was able to achieve with the support she's able to receive at this wonderful place. So, Amanda, tell us what this means to you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda Hamilton. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. I work in business development at Horizon Media, and as the governor just said, I just graduated with an executive MBA from Columbia University. My husband, Darren, and I are also Vivi parents to a 4-year-old Amelia. She's very good friends with Charlie's daughter, Grace. In Amelia's baby book, we wrote, "It will be our privilege to guide you as you discover and make your mark on the world." When applying to Columbia, I considered this, and if I dreamed of inspiring Amelia to find her purpose and achieve her fullest potential, I first needed to do the same. And because of this, I'm thrilled to speak with you all today about how quality childcare and employer support have been foundational to our family. Being pregnant while living in New York, my main concern, outside of squeezing all of the baby stuff into our apartment, was finding affordable and enriching childcare. I actually enrolled Amelia at Vivi before they officially opened. It was really the only option that made any sense. As Charlie said earlier, Vivi is in the same building as my employer, and for a first-time mom, it really put me at ease. It meant I was able to pop down and do feedings. I was able to just be an elevator right away in case anything ever happened. They were open from 7 to 7. I certainly didn't work those hours, but it gave me the flexibility to go in for an earlier meeting and really achieve my career goals without mom guilt. They have warm, wonderful, full-time teachers who love Amelia and really helped her to learn to love learning. And invoking Miss Serena's name, who I see in the room today, really still carries a lot of weight in our house. Significantly, my employer subsidized childcare at Vivi, making it about 1/3 the cost of comparable programs. When I speak to my peer group, the need for support of early childhood education is significant. We shouldn't have to pause our goals, empty our savings accounts, or for those who are so lucky, summon our grandparents out of retirement to make it work. Having this village behind us significantly lessened the strain of early childhood on our family, allowing my husband and I to continue to work towards our goals while growing our family. So thank you for that, Ben, Charlie, and Horizon.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program. Thank you all for joining us today.